that allows you to kind of maximize each chance you have up the bat, because this is all a game of numbers at this point. So this makes it almost a no-brainer in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a huge tip. I've never heard that before.
So I've done hundreds of interviews for SOC analysts, and the biggest thing that I see is
Yo, what is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be giving you a complete roadmap to become a SOC analyst in 2025. I'm bringing back a special guest for this video who has over 10 years of experience working in cybersecurity with a background in red teaming, purple teaming, and blue teaming. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ben, and I make videos like this one every single week, so make sure you go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out. If you find this video helpful, be sure to go ahead and also drop me a like. It really helps me out. With that said, let's go ahead and get right into the video. All right, Mike, thanks for coming back on the channel. Really do appreciate it. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, what you have going on, and also your background in the blue team and red team side of things.
yeah. Thanks for having me back. It's always a pleasure to collaborate on stuff and share some good information. Yeah, for those of you who don't know me, I have a YouTube channel. And I do some streaming as well. So InfoSec Wizard, you can find me. Hey, mostly Thursdays nights, we do some live streaming, go through Try Hack Me Lab. So if you're wanting to get your hands dirty and you need a kind of a guide, hop in there. I call it a session with noobs, where I get noobs on and I let them lead the way and hop on camera and kind of lead things. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, my background in general is I go back and forth. So every couple of years I go from red team to blue team and then back. Purple team sometimes as well. So yeah, I've done a lot in all the space. So hopefully I can lend some of that experience today for our roadmap.
Cool. Sounds good. And I think for the viewers here, I think Mike's a little bit underselling himself. If you're someone who is brand new to cybersecurity and you want to get more technical and you want to learn it in a hands-on, sort of an easy explained way, definitely check out Mike's channel. He breaks it down in a really easy to understand way, especially for beginners. So make sure you guys go ahead and check him out. But with that said, Mike, let's go ahead and hop into our video, our SOC analyst roadmap for beginners. What would you pretty much do if you had to restart your career in 2025 and become a SOC analyst? So what would be your first step, Mike?
First step. So, when you look at starting out in career, everyone starts in a different place. And I think a lot of that's missing from a lot of the guides out there, where some people start in college, some people want to jump right in, some people are coming from the military, or some people are coming from another career with a degree in something already. But we can talk about a generalized approach, and I'll kind of frame it as needed. But one of the first things is to get one of the base level certifications that are out there. So if you look, and this is what I love to do when I started out, looking at job listings for where I want to go, right? In order for you to make a plan, you got to see where you're trying to go and
Right.
look and see what certifications are people actually looking for today. And can you guess what those are today? I mean, we talked about these in some of them: Sec Plus, CYSA, the gold standard of introductory concepts.
So you'd start off with probably the Sec Plus to start off with. You probably skip over the A Plus, Network Plus as well, or what would you do with those?
Yeah, this is just my take. Everyone, take your own life situation into consideration when you're making your plan out there for those listening. I would personally, because a lot of those are gearing you towards a help desk role. But we don't want to be help desk role. We want to be SOC analysts. We want to get out there. We want to investigate cool incidents. I think they're cool anyways. That's my 2 cents. And you don't need to be a help desk person to do that. For me, when I look at learning, I look at how much time is it going to take, and is this time worth the thing that I'm actually learning? And I don't think it is in this case.
Okay. Okay. So studying for the Security Plus would be your first step. And then after that, potentially looking into the CYSA for a little bit more advanced, sort of deeper down, sort of look inside of cybersecurity concepts, right?
Yeah.
But still relatively theoretical, no really hands-on experience quite yet, right?
Bingo. Bingo. And the other big point here with these certifications, if you're in a college degree program, for those of you in school, a lot of times you can get really low cost vouchers and study guides at the university you're at. So this makes it almost a no-brainer, in my opinion. You can get it cheaper. You can get all the study materials, so you don't have to spend your money on that, because a lot of us, we don't have that money at that stage of our lives. So, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you're not going to invest in some of these $4,000, $5,000 certifications. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we got the first step out the way, the Security Plus and the CYSA. So let's say we have a Security Plus under our belt. CYSA might be maybe optional. What would be the second step in the roadmap here?
Second step is to start learning how to do stuff with your hands, getting them dirty. So when we look at the next stage, right? Even in interviews, when we're looking at getting your job, your first step is you have to catch the eye of the recruiter or the person who's managing that role, and that's typically certifications are going to do that because you don't have a job yet. You have zero experience, probably. At least we're going to go with that assumption, starting from scratch. So one, we got to catch their eye. Okay, I got one of these baseline certifications. Next, almost everyone is asking for some kind of lab time, some kind of just hands-on experience. Doesn't have to be like paid experience. It just has to be like you're doing stuff. You're going through it. You're learning whatever it is. So yeah, lab time. And one of my favorite places. This is obviously I don't know if you're sponsored by them, but I'm not. Try Hack Me, and it's what I do on my stream because it's cheap. I mean, it's like $14 a month or something crazy like that, and it's really good training, and it kind of holds your hand because the hard part is troubleshooting when you're starting out. Like that eats up so much of your time that you could be spending studying. And you really don't have a lot of that issues in their labs, at least from my experience. So getting in there and they have paths already built for you. Just pick one, start chugging through it. There's lots of guides out there, lots of walkthroughs. I put all my content up so people can go through it as well. Get into a lab, and there's quite a few out there. Try Hack Me and Hack the Box are two popular ones right now.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's say someone is, signing up for Try Hack Me, Hack the Box, all these different platforms to start getting some hands-on experience. From that point, how do you sort of add those to your resume and make yourself even more marketable after you've completed these different labs?
Great question. And a lot of people think because it's not a certification, they can't put it on their resume, but that's not true. I actually encourage anytime you go through one of those skill paths or complete a training segment, put it on your resume, and you can do it like completed labs. There was this whole time frame where people were putting like top 10% try hack me on their resume and their LinkedIn. Cool, that's fine. Brag about it, sure. But just listing them under labs or additional training is okay.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Sounds good. So we're getting some more hands-on experience now with different labs. And I'm sure Try Hack Me and Hack the Box aren't the only options as well. You can probably build your own home lab or potentially look into certifications that contain hands-on, exams and stuff like that. Is that something that we're looking into for the next step, or where would you what would be the next step really in
Yeah.
this roadmap?
Yeah. Great question, Ben. So, yeah, I would be going to maybe a hands on certification would be step three. So, one, I want to get prepared, get an understanding of kind of what's expected in this role, maybe common concepts of what's the attacker methodology actually look like in practice versus just reading about it. What does a SIM feel like, right? A lot of people read, oh, it's a log aggregator, but what does that actually mean? Most people get in there like, oh, wow, this is what it is. And but
Yes.
get some experience, and it's going to save you a lot of time when you get into that hands-on certification because a lot of times you're restricted with time frame. Just depends on which one it is, but maybe you only have like 90 days. Like OffSec is kind of like that. You have to pay for a subset of lab time. And so if you go in there already with some knowledge and skills under your belt, you can use your time to learn more advanced skills more efficiently.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. So, certification exams, I think like an example of these would be like what, blue team level one
Yep.
from security blue team. Are there any other ones that come to your mind?
There's a ton. I actually like did some research. I told you before this to look to see what's out there these days. I have quite a few of these, but some of them are just costly. So one thing I would like to put out there, and I think we talked about it in one of your other videos as well, is that GAC is almost always listed in these job listings, especially at your intermediate level and above. However, they're crazy expensive, and I would never ask someone to pay that out of pocket, especially just starting out in cybersecurity. Yeah, so one of the things I do recommend is people to hop on SANS and look for scholarship opportunities. And what these are going to, there's certain groups of people that can apply to these and that they're for. So, like veterans, near and dear to my heart, right? As a veteran, I actually went through their program and I got 3 free certifications. That's like 20 grand worth of certifications, no cost to me. So look in there. It definitely has helped my career, but don't pay for it out of pocket. Just apply. If there's something available for you, apply. It's going to it's going to be advantageous to you for sure. Now,
Uh,
yeah, the other ones, there's tons of other ones. Just depends on your specialty, but I would do that a little bit later. So BOT level one is probably one of the better options to do in terms of price range, because we definitely want to consider price range with these. And I think it's somewhere around 400 bucks, roughly. Great material as well. And you always have TCM. So the Cyber Mentor has some good stuff, as always. His stuff just isn't as well recognized. I think Blue Team Level One's kind of the more well recognized one in socks these days.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Blue Team Level 1, I completed it not too long ago as well. And I can definitely vouch for its value and its quality of, the learning material. You get hands on experience and it's actually really fun going through an investigation. Sometimes you get stuck, but that's really what it's like to be a SOC analyst. Sometimes you get stuck and you have to bang your head against the wall a little bit, rethink your strategy, and eventually you can, continue moving on and pushing on to your investigation. But
Do you feel
all right,
like it,
cool.
it gave you a leg up from the stuff you were learning with hands-on experience that you were learning at the time, and then you took that? Do you feel like it filled in some gaps and helped you get better?
Yeah, for sure. Like compared to like certifications we were talking about before, like Security Plus or CYSA, those are just gonna give you like the theoretical sort of textbook definitions of what things are and how to do certain things, but it's nothing like getting hands-on experience. And I think especially for this role for a SOC analyst, like you said before, it's always brought up in interviews, like what would you do in this scenario or how do you conduct your investigation? These are always gonna be questions that are being asked in interviews. So having that hands-on experience through certifications like this, or like we mentioned before, through your own labs or through TryHackMe is going to be essential when it comes time to start applying for different roles. And at the end of the day, performing as a SOC analyst. So
Yep, agreed.
cool. All right. So what's the next step here on the list, Mike?
So the next step we have, just to kind of go back through what we have our base certification where we just got fundamental knowledge. We know what a port is, we know what a basic process is, we know what all these key terms are. We need to know. We've gotten some hands-on time in the lab. Then we've tackled a entry technical certification for a SOC, and now we start looking at specializing. And so what I mean by that is typically, for those of you who don't know, who haven't been kind of in the cybersecurity world, when you get into the SOC, it's typically kind of like a feeding ground for other specialties tangential to the SOC. So things like threat hunting, alert or detection logic, engineering in general, maybe purple teaming, things like that. So there's forensics, malware analysis, all these things are kind of specialties that come off of the SOC, and they typically grab people out of the SOC to fill these roles if you're moving laterally in an organization. So that's what I mean by specialty. Now,
Well,
there's tons of great courses out there for these specialties. So like malware analysis and forensics are two of the very common routes that a lot of people take. And I say that because they're the routes I took as well. And they're a lot of fun. There's some really good courses out there. Again, Try Hack Me has some really good stuff for it. INE does have some good courses. I actually did their not their incident, their forensic course, and it just opened my mind up to what forensics is. So a really good course there. Then they have a malware analysis course that isn't that bad. TCM has some courses as well. That's kind of in the lower cost realm of certification, so sub $1,000 really. OffSec has some stuff too. I haven't taken any. Have you done any of the OffSec blue side courses?
blue side? No, I haven't yet.
Okay.
I didn't even know they had some. I thought it was only red team. They have some blue side certifications or
Yeah,
training.
as of last year, I think they came out because I have a couple of offensive certifications, but I haven't done any blue certifications. Hack the Box has one as well. I haven't talked to anyone that's completed it, but Hack the Box is really good quality. It's just not, I don't typically recommend them for beginners because they don't hold your hand very well. So they're almost like OffSec mentality. OffSec does not hold your hand as well either. And they're expecting you to do a lot of the troubleshooting, you to overcome your own challenges, where other courses like Try Hack Me will give you a lot more to go off of. You're not struggling as hard.
Yeah.
So I just say it's a little more hand holdy. You're not kind of on your own trying to figure out, why is this thing not loading? Why is this command not working? They've walked you
Right.
through it. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. So now that we're in the step of the roadmap where we're trying to figure out our specialty, and I know you mentioned a bunch of different platforms that have resources to help you find that. As someone like as a beginner, there's so many, like we said before, there's so many different options within the blue team side of things. There's SOC analysts, forensics, threat hunt, detection engineering. There's so many different things. As a beginner, what kind of questions do you ask yourself to determine which one is probably going to be a right fit for you? Like, what kind of reflection are you doing? What kind of questions are you asking yourself? How did you figure out what you wanted to do and specialize in at first?
Man, putting me on the spot. Great question. No, one of the things I do recommend for people to do if you've landed in the SOC, right? We've gotten our first job in the SOC, and these roles are available at that same organization. See if you can shadow. See what a day in the life of that role is. See if it sounds cool. See if it sounds interesting. Because a lot of people do this and they find out that's not for me. Like for instance, offensive security. A lot of people like see it, Mr. Robot, all these things are like, oh, that sounds awesome. And then they look at a day in the life of these people and they see what it entails and they're like, okay, that's probably not for me, you know? Because a lot of like, especially the offensive side, and it does happen in the defensive side, but I don't think as much from my experience. That's their life. It's a lifestyle for them. They're always in it, working on research, doing something. And blue side, not so much. There's a few super nerds like myself that do, but you know, I think it's a little bit fewer and far in between. So shadow if you can. If not, hop into one of those things like Try Hack Me or Hack the Box, where it's $14 to go through a pathway or like a training program to see if you actually like it. You might get in there and be like, I think malware analysis is going to be amazing. And then you take one look at the debugger or decompiled code and you're like, yeah, this is not my jam, which happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. So getting in some shadow time or just watching videos, learning up on the lifestyle and what it entails, and also just getting hands on with the actual work they're doing and see if it's a good fit for you.
Yeah. There's a lot of great creators out there in the defensive space.
Yeah, and we'll leave some resources
Yeah.
for you guys. If for all the things that we mentioned in this video, we'll leave links to everything in the description box below. So make sure you guys check it out if you're curious. But next step in the roadmap, Mike, are we almost towards the end, or what's the next step here?
I mean, that's pretty much it. This is pretty much the life in cybersecurity where now that you've gotten your fundamentals under you and you can start doing your own research or comfortable enough in that arena, it's kind of up to you. You figure out where you want to go in deep at because you start where you're just learning kind of a broad set of information. And then you figure out where do I want to specialize? And that's everywhere in cybersecurity. And then you just, wherever your research takes you, whatever your jobs take you, this is kind of the part where you start taking into account your 5 to 10 year game plan. Where do you want to be at that time frame? And then you start looking at roles that'll get you there, like stepping stones, and figuring out what certifications, what type of knowledge you need to acquire to hit that long-term goal and do it. So it's this is where everyone's path is insanely different because now it's up to you. I don't, you know, my 10 year goal is going to be way different than yours, I'm sure, and vice versa. So, and we all have, I'm sure both of us have our own little plans, but we have stepping stones and we have a long term goal. So just figure out where you want to go and then start building your own game plan to get you there.
Gotcha. Okay. So now that the roadmap is complete for the most part at this point, let's say someone followed every single step in this roadmap, and now it's time for them to prepare applying for applying for jobs, things of that sort. In your experience, what are some things that you've done in order to maximize your opportunities in terms of your, editing your resume and optimizing your resume, in terms of your interviewing skills? Like, what are your things that you're working on, and optimizing in order to increase your chances of landing a job?
Yeah, great question. So a lot of times now, what I've been seeing in the job market is we want to fine tune every resume, and people look at me like I'm crazy when I say that. Every job listing should have a unique resume geared specifically towards that, and you can use ChatGPT or some kind of AI to help you fine tune it. Maybe to do this, you just have a huge list, like just a massive resume, right? And you have all these bullets of your skills and things of whatever you've done, and then you say, okay, here's the description from the job listing, condense this resume down to 2 pages for this job, and it will help you with some prompting. That allows you to kind of maximize each chance you have up to bat because this is all a game of numbers at this point. Do you have at least one of the resume or one of the certifications they're asking for? So this is your Sec Plus, COI ISA? Do I have some of that experience they're asking for so that there's that lab time that we're putting down close to your certifications or down at the bottom of your resume? With that, then all these other bullets. So maybe you have like, you got 600 points on TryHackMe or 6,000, whatever it is. And that equates to maybe 100 different courses. You're not going to put them all on there. Maybe with that, you have your master list, and then your AI assistant there is going to help select the ones that make sense because they're going to line up to the things. Hey, I want people who know how to do incident response. I want people who can do basic malware triage. I want people who have touched a SIM. So maybe you put all the SIM labs in there. But you just orient your resume to as close as possible to the job listing without lying, right? I definitely do not encourage you to lie on a resume ever, because you will get caught very quickly as soon as you start getting technical questions and like, but you said you did this in your resume.
I like yeah, that's a huge tip. I never heard that before. Creating a master list and having AI optimize your resume for each job listing, because I'm sure a lot of people, especially beginners, are just using the same resume for every single job they're applying to. So that's a really good tip from you, Mike. So
And they're applying like
yeah,
hundreds at a time, and they're like, I'm not getting any callbacks. What's going on? Like, same resume.
right. Right. Okay, that's a good tip. And then for like job interview skills and stuff like that, how do you kind of prepare for that? I'm sure you could use AI as well, and doing your own research. But how would you prepare for a SOC interview?
Yeah, so this lab time that you'll be doing, this is every hour you spend in a lab is increasing your chances that you're going to do really well in the interview, because you're going to have more experience and you'll be able to talk more in depth about whatever the question is. So that's kind of the key. So I've done hundreds of interviews for SOC analysts. Like, I'm the one interviewing them. And the biggest thing that I see is they have very shallow depth of knowledge that they can pull from. And so when they start answering questions like, what would you do if, you got a malware alert on a laptop? I would just let the, antivirus handle it. And then that's it. Like, really? Talk through it and just explain why. Like, well, I would look to see, was it actually executed or was it caught on disk? The specific situation. I would determine how it got on there. Did it come from an email? Did it come from another system? Who was logged in? Is it seen on other systems across the network? But like, just that itself, just that little bit I just talked there, most people don't do because they haven't done any of these labs. They've just read the Sec Plus, and it tells you antivirus is going to handle it for you, and just really basic stuff. But just talking through it. And the more lab time you have, the more in depth you can just dive into this, and you're going to blow your interview out of the water. They're going to be like, wow, they really have done some lab time. Because I look at interviews as the way you prove that your resume is true. And what they're looking for when they're talking to you in the interview is, how much time is it going to take me to train this person versus that person? That's pretty much what it comes down to. And are they a culture fit also? But they're looking at, how much do I have to invest for this person to be successful, and what are the chances that they will be successful in this role?
Gotcha. I think you bring up a good point when you mention that, because one thing that I also want to emphasize with beginners when they're going through these labs and certifications and stuff like that is not going through the motion. So like you said, try me. Don't just try and rack up as many points as possible and just try to go through the motion and skip through and get as many points as possible as quick as possible. Don't try and do that. Really take the time to go in depth in each of these labs. Really understand what you're doing. That way, when it comes time for an interview and they're asking you these questions, you can really answer them with your knowledge. And like Mike said, that'll blow them away, and it'll show that you've really been paying attention and you really know what you're doing. So that'll be one huge separator between someone who's gone through the motion and just wants to stack certifications and lab time versus someone who is really understanding and digesting exactly what they're doing and why. So that's a huge tip from you, Mike, and I'm sure a lot of beginners will find value in these two tips that you've given them. So
Yeah. I mean, well, what you're saying is gold as well. Like, practicing with intention is different than just going through the motions. Think about it. If you're an athlete, right? You play baseball. If you're just going out there to swing the bat, you're just, swing it, but you're not swinging it like you would in a game. You're not swinging it looking to tweak and find ways to improve. You're never going to improve. You're just doing it, and you're just wasting time essentially. So practice, study with intention, get a notebook, take notes of how you utilize a certain tool, when you would utilize a tool, what this particular IOC means to you, what type of logs could be used to investigate what type of activity, whatever it is. Take notes, be intentional with everything.
gotcha. Cool. Yeah. Sounds good, Mike. I think that's the end of the roadmap here. Any sort of last words or tips or any piece of advice you want to leave the viewers with, or any shout outs you want to make before we go ahead and head out?
No, yeah. I mean, if you want to get some hands on and you want someone to guide you, hop on the stream. Come on, I'll bring you on the screen. We can we could do some stuff and get dirty, like Miss Frizzle. Get in there and get messy.
Yeah, thanks again for coming on the show. Like I said to the viewers here, if you guys want someone who has years of experience in the red team and blue team side of things, definitely check out Mike's content, Mike's channel. Follow him on there. You can ask him any question. He's an open book and he's more than willing to help. So make sure you guys take advantage of it and reach out to him if you want to and follow his page. So once again, Mike, thanks for hopping on the channel. And with that being said, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.